So today we have Erik, is it Jung or Young? Jung from Healthcare Rising. He is one of the 7 statewide organizers working for Healthcare Rising to pass Prop 209. Prop 209 will help protect Arizonans from predatory medical debt. And we have a hiker and a soccer player coming to talk to us about it.
Hiker is a stretch. I hike sometimes, but so my name's Erik. I'm, like she said, one of the 7 organizers for Healthcare Rising. I'm not sure how familiar people are with Healthcare Rising, but we're essentially like a grassroots organization of healthcare workers, as well as just Arizonans that are working to reform some of the worst parts of the healthcare system here. Right now, the initiative we're working on is Prop 209, the Predatory Debt Protection Act, which, I mean, people are probably aware of this, but just generally, debt from medical bills is one of the top causes of bankruptcy. It's one of the leading causes of homelessness. It affects about 1/6 of Arizonans. It's particularly bad in Arizona, worse so than even other states, just because currently here they can actually charge interest up to 10% on the debt. They can also garnish people's wages up to 1/4 of their paycheck. And then people's assets don't have the same protections here that most other states do. And so what our initiative does is a handful of things surrounding that. The first is it lowers the cap on interest rates for medical debt, specifically from 10% to 3%. It also protects more people's assets and belongings from debt collectors. And so specifically, it increases a homestead exemption for home equity protection to $400,000 of home protection, which is closer to the median home value. It does a similar thing with vehicles. I believe increases that to $15,000 of equity protection for cars. And then also currently only $300 is protected within individual bank accounts from seizure. So that's increased to $5,000. So it essentially makes it so that, like, if you do have medical debt, of which a lot of people do, one of the things I end up doing is, as I go around talking to people, is collecting stories and testimonials of people that do have medical debt, and I knew a lot of people did, but it's like more than you'd think, and it's a lot of people that think they're okay, but it's like you might only be one catastrophic accident or illness away from being in this situation, and if you're not a family member, a friend, neighbor, like a lot of people are. So essentially what the act does is it just makes sure that if that does happen to you, at least you're not going to lose everything and won't end up out on the street. You'll still have some amount of safety net, and the debt won't accrue at a exponential rate that you can't handle. And so, yeah, I mean, that's the essence of the bill. Again, it's Prop 209. Healthcare Rising is an organization, so we are, like I said, we're comprised of 2 main constituencies. The first is UHW, which is United Healthcare Workers, which is one of the larger healthcare workers unions, which, we're very fortunate that, like, they've been essentially financed a large amount of the cost of running the initiative, which people know for a statewide initiative, even if you're one of the poor organizations, you still need like millions of dollars in order to run it, just for the legal and the signature collection and the advertisements and whatever. And so we're fortunate with that. Now, the long-term goal for the org isn't just to pass one initiative and then go away. It's rather to kind of build up a sustainable grassroots infrastructure internally within the state that can pass initiatives through the ballot initiative process going forward in perpetuity and increasingly without dependency upon the UHW funding in order to finance it. So in essence, like I'm one of the organizers, so it's like I'll do work around, passing this initiative and things like this, but it's also building up the organization so that we have the capacity to reform the healthcare system in the future, and medical debt is just one small branch of a extremely dysfunctional system, it's terrible in the US generally, but it's worse in Arizona than almost anywhere in the US. And so, long story short, we're trying to build up the org. Right now, we have about 1,500 members in the state, and as well as a few hundred other volunteers. Although most of the volunteers are members, we got about 36,000 signatures from volunteers this cycle. We'd like to at least double that, and hopefully get over 100,000 for the next cycle. Long story short, if people are interested in becoming members, which a member is essentially somebody that's able to make a contribution. The smallest amount is $25. You could get a T-shirt. We're always looking for that. I'll be at the table over there. We're also looking for volunteers. We're going to be doing Get Out the Vote Camp. I mean, it sounds like you're probably all very stretched thin, but I'm happy to stretch a little more. We'll be doing canvasses every Saturday up until the election, also some weekdays as well. And so if you're interested in that, also come say hi over there, even if it's just for an hour or two. It all adds up. And yeah, no, thanks for giving me the time. Oh yeah, sure. Questions?
One quick question, and then we're going to take questions at the end.
I was just wondering, can you clarify who the "they" is in your medical debt? When you said they can't charge, I mean, as a retired physician, I know that there's certain people who could pay their bills for sure.
Who can charge the interest on medical debt?
Right, so who's the "they" that you see as sort of the boogeyman?
Well, I mean, I'm not as familiar with the entire bureaucracy as maybe I should be, so I won't answer a question I don't know the answer to. But as I understand it, it's the owners of the debt, which a lot of times it starts with the hospitals, but is later sold to third-party collection agencies in other states, and people will get harassed on the phones, and so I don't know. It's the owners of the debt. Now I know there is. I've been told there are some preclusions on when interest can be charged on debt, and I know it's definitely not all medical debt that has interest on it. But as I understand it, the owners of the debts, and specifically collections agencies that the hospitals outsource the kind of dirty work of getting the bills towards. So, yeah, I do have the full language of the initiative. I should have it in my backpack if you want to read through it. It has all the legalese in it. So.
Thank you.